This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
Hello, how's everybody doing? Shanti, oh my God, look at that background. That is too perfect. What you got back there? That is, I'm not going to say it. I have to say it. It's hilarious. Come on. All right. We are in a good mood to talk about colorful Vespas and colorful mixers, right?
Yep, that's right.
That is beautiful. We have quite a panel assembled backstage. We're going to bring them out in a second, but I want to thank everybody for kind of joining us again here. We were supposed to do this on Sunday, but we all felt like crap.
Yep. Sorry.
So we rescheduled for tonight. This is fantastic. Who is in the chat? Dragon Buddy, what's up, Dragon Buddy? Tina, General Shinobi, that's you. The Escape Pod, hello. Joey Rosales, what's happening? Everybody in the chat, we love to see some wonderful people in the chat. I hope that the folks that stopped by on Sunday come back. We had some folks on Sunday that also were waiting for us, but unfortunately, like I said, things happened.
Yeah, thank you for being loyal.
Yeah, absolutely. So tonight's episode, we are doing Boba Fett refresh, and I want to read a disclaimer before we bring everybody out. Okay, you ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
All right, because I see a lot of traffic on the interwebs, a lot of people to and fro on Twitter yelling at one opinion versus their own, and I just want to make sure that people understand what they're getting into here at the Scarif Scuttlebutt podcast. So the following program is designed to discuss our opinions and thoughts on the latest chapter of the Book of Boba Fett. The creators who participate do not intend, nor do they advocate for you to change your mind or otherwise convince, influence you or others into believing or thinking like us. As a matter of fact, we encourage independent thought throughout the course of this program as various opinions will be discussed. We also understand that your views may not align with our views, but some may. The Scarif Scuttlebutt podcast makes absolutely no guarantees that your feelings may or may not get hurt. In the event that that happens, we encourage you to suck it up. Are you ready for a little Boba Fett refresh?
That was so litigious of you. Let's do this.
Let's do this. And we got everybody here. Welcome, guys, to another edition of Boba Fett Refresh. I wanted to say thank you to our distinguished panel. We have somehow Palpatine returned. And he did. Last week he was with us. Andrew from Coruscant Radio Underground. Andrew, my brother, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
Fantastic. And then moving down the line, Lunar Girl. Kelly, how's it going?
Doing pretty good. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you for joining us. And Amanda, Galaxy of Queers, Amanda, Jedi Caligula, you got all sorts of names there.
Yeah, I do. I have a lot of names. Mandalorian, Jedi Caligula. Good to be here, though, tonight.
Well, looks like I'm going to be seeing a lot of you. Later on, we're going to be talking on your show. I'm really excited for that. But what are we talking about? Willow again?
Willow.
This is my third outing on Willow. But it's we're going to be doing that in about, 2 hours?
Yeah.
Looking forward to that. It's another one of those George Lucas stories and films that really gets me going. So looking forward to that. As soon as who else is doing Red 5? Red 5 is we got a busy night, huh?
Mm-hmm.
We got Rogue One Radio in an hour.
Rogue One Radio goes on in an hour.
Use and Abuse is on right now.
Is on right now.
Oh, great. Excellent. So, the Book of Boba Fett. Last week we were all enthralled at the latest chapter of the Book of Boba Fett called The Streets of Mos Espa. We're 3 episodes into a 7-episode series, and let's talk. Who's got some notes? Hold on a second. I'm flipping through my pages to get to the beginning of my notes here, because we got some opinions, man.
Am I doing?
All right. So I wanted to start out by saying, I always say that, obviously, you guys know me. Everybody that knows the show knows that we are just really ecstatic to get new Star Wars up and running. It's here. We've got some streaming shows. The Mandalorian was fantastic. Anything new in the Star Wars arena, I really get excited. Obviously, we all are in front of some wonderful collectibles. So we're very excited when something new comes out, something new Marvel, something new Star Wars. It's in our blood. I always say that you cut me, I bleed Star Wars. But something's going on here, if I have to be honest with you. I don't want this show. This show is not going to be kind of like crap on the Book of Boba Fett, because there are some really cool things that I do want to mention. But as your background would show you, let's do a quick little a little recap as far as like what our first impressions were. I know it's been a week. We've seen it probably a couple of times. Shanti, you said you've only seen it once. Amanda, you've seen it twice.
Yeah.
I've seen it 3 times. I saw it the second time with my son. But let's go around the room. Shanti, just quick, 1 or 2 sentence review. What'd you think of last week's episode?
Ugh.
Okay.
Oh my God. It's weird. I thought I liked it when I first saw it, and then the more I let the episode marinate, the more and more and more I started to really, really, really dislike it. And again, it has to do a lot with the production value. And okay, I'm just going to read the first note that I have here. Dear Robert Rodriguez, go away. This is Star Wars, not a film by Robert Rodriguez. Just stop it. So that is, I think, my biggest gripe right now, is I'm not liking his direction.
And that's interesting, because I am a really big Robert Rodriguez fan, and I'm sure a lot of you folks are. His movies like El Mariachi and the vampire ones, but they're pretty good. The other, I want to make another little bit of a disclaimer to everybody that's watching in the chat. I think I want to say, like, I don't know, almost 90% of my issues are going to be production issues, probably things that like normal people don't notice. But the funny thing is that I'm seeing that a lot of people are noticing these things. I posted in the chat that there's certain things that people are like catching on when it comes to the production value of the show versus the production value of, say, a Marvel streaming show or The Mandalorian, the show that obviously preceded this. But I'm going to go to Andrew and get your 2 cents on this last episode. Overall, what are your thoughts?
So, I've been on both shows with you talking about episodes 1 and 2 previously, and I mostly disagreed with you on the production value side of things. That I felt like while it could be better, it hadn't crossed a line into bad. And I think it did. And I think episode 3, I think there are several things, the big one being the one that we're all going to talk about, is the speeder chase and just the speeders in general. I don't know what they did there, but it's not right. And I don't know what happened in post and how it got past everyone to get on screen like that.
Right. Yeah. We'll definitely get into that. But the speeder chase or lack thereof is one of the biggest fallbacks for me. But let's get to Lunar Girl. You are sunshine and rays of light, and we love that about you. So what did you think of last episode of Book of Boba Fett?
I think everybody on this planet is crazy because I loved it. I mean, we got a baby Rancor, and Boba's gonna learn to ride him into battle. We've got a war with the syndicates coming up. I mean, how could you not be excited over this? Yeah, the Vespas were like, meh. But I took some notes. The only notes on that scene, so we'll cover those when we get there.
Sounds good. And Amanda, you said that you saw it twice, and
Yes.
the second time, what did you say about your second viewing?
I hated it more.
Oh my God.
I watched the first episode. I liked it. It wasn't like outstanding. Then I watched the second episode, loved it. And this episode just like fell flat for me. The progression of Boba Fett as a character hasn't been doing it for me in this episode. And the whole Vespa scene was just terrible production value, like glaringly.
That's what I'm hearing a lot. Again, I mentioned that we are almost, tomorrow we will be halfway through with this series, and I haven't really seen a good amount of character development with Boba Fett, and we'll get to that. One of my other gripes, and I know that Sean and I, kind of rib each other about this. It's the whole cinematic aspect of the look and feel of the series versus the actual movies. And obviously, I'm not oblivious into realizing that there is a big difference in budget between a streaming small screen thing and a multi-million-dollar production in film. But there are certain things that I think Star Wars needs to be consistent over, and I have started to see these wide shots, these cinematic shots, like this last episode. There were some great shots of the city, both day and night, which really, I loved seeing those. When Boba Fett was riding the bantha through the desert, there were some really great shots, with some really nice music of the dune sea and the sand, and it looked beautiful. So they're, I do see that they're starting to ramp up, those cinematics. The shot at the beginning, let's go through it, kind of in order there. The shot at the beginning with Jabba's palace with the Bomar monks was really great, and those are some of the shots that we saw in the trailer when we first saw the the teaser. But after that, we've got the scene where the droid starts explaining to Boba Fett and Fennec Shand the kind of the power structure of the underworld after Boba Fett came in and eliminated the previous crime lord. But one of the problems that I had with that scene was I couldn't believe that that somebody needed to explain to Boba Fett the structure of this crime syndicate. I'm thinking that Boba Fett was kind of an employee of Jabba the Hutt, and he kind of knew, even if there was somebody after Boba Fett, the structure kind of still maybe stayed the same. That could be nitpicky. What did you guys think about that particular scene? We're talking about the Trandoshans, the Aqualish, and the Klatooinians, and I think that was pretty much more for our benefit as an audience. What do you guys think?
That's exactly what I was going to say. Is I think it's more for our benefit than it was for Boba. And plus, I like the droid. He's snarky.
I do like the droid.
I do like the droid.
love
Yeah, he's good.
One of the few things that I like.
What's his name? EV8?
I think so.
8V8?
Something like that. Yeah.
Something like that.
I think though. Oh, go ahead, Andrew.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think that there's actually more to that. I think that there's more that's explained. I think that Bib Fortuna has changed the way that the city is run. I don't think this is the old way it's run. This is him explaining Bib Fortuna was a figurehead,
Right.
and he basically delegated power. Jabba didn't do that. So this is him explaining the way it ran in the time he's been gone, because it's different than the way Mos Espa has been run previously.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I
So
didn't
I-
have a problem with that scene.
I agree. Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. You know, Bib Fortuna changed the power structure of the area since Boba's been gone. So he knew how it worked with Jabba, but now it's working completely different now.
I can.
Did Ro freeze?
Did Ro freeze? Yeah.
Ro? Do you smell toast?
Crime boss.
Ro?
Kelly!
You okay?
It's another mutiny. Do I get to take over?
I lost you guys for a second. Yeah, I looked up and everybody was spinning. I know there was come back to us, Podfather. I know there was a little controversy regarding the special guest week. I really didn't have a problem with the actor. I like the actor. You know, I remember from News Radio, and I've seen him in some other roles. What'd you guys think of that character?
What was Stephen
water
Root
stealer.
doing? I love Stephen Root. I think he's a great actor. But what was that voice he was doing? I didn't buy it at all. I felt like it was a complete caricature. Again, I already said it. I feel like this entire show has just been a complete mockery of Star Wars. I just couldn't take it seriously.
Wow.
I'm being serious. All I kept thinking was my stapler, and it was just very distracting. And I can't take all the guest stars. Same thing with Danny Trejo. Again, it's not like I don't love these actors. I don't want anyone to misconstrue that I hate these actors. I love them. But I'm with Kelly. I loved seeing the Rancor, but I really did hate that my first reaction was, hey, look, Danny Trejo. I don't want to be doing that.
I have one question.
Mm-hmm.
What did you do throughout the entire 2 seasons of The Mandalorian then?
I didn't like it either. Listen, I ended up liking Bill Burr's appearance more in the second season, because it was a little more serious. But again, because I'm so aware of who these people are and what they normally do, I know Bill Burr as a comedian. I've seen him on Conan many times. So when I see him popping up, pardon my French, but my first thought was, what the fuck is Bill Burr doing here? And then I have all these things swirling in my mind. And before I know it, I've missed all this dialogue because I'm so focused on, hey, what's he doing here? Why is he here? So for me, it's just slightly distracting.
That's
And I
interesting.
know there's been other guests
Yeah,
in the movies, and I get that. I almost got into an argument with somebody about that today on Twitter, but
I saw that. And I think that sort of thing is going to be subjective because there are certain things that, I've always said in previous shows that I like when Star Wars uses actors that are not as well known, because it kind of lends to the suspension of disbelief that you're in a galaxy far, far away, and then when all of a sudden Tom Cruise comes out in a Jedi, it's like, oh my God, it's Tom Cruise,
and that's my thing, yeah.
Yeah. But
I'm with you.
Again, it's it's going to be subjective to each individual. I didn't have a major problem with that until we do get actors of other calibers. But Andrew, what did you think of not only that character, but I guess the function of the character to introduce these gang people?
So I actually don't mind the use of these actors in the roles. I'm fine with Stephen Root's character here. The only thing is and I kind of feel, and I had this same complaint with The Mandalorian. This one actually I have a slightly less big complaint with The Mandalorian. All the way through the first season, it was okay. What is the actual story?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, seriously, we didn't know. Once all the way through the first season, we're still going, okay, what is the actual story? It can't all just be these week-to-week adventures or fetch quests, which is almost what the entire thing is. this one we at least kind of know where the story's going, but they're still holding back. But we know already that they don't respect Boba Fett. Right. So how many more times do we need a character to come in and be very pointedly disrespectful before we deal with it and move forward? And I do think that's coming. I just think they're taking way too long to get to it.
Agreed.
I think they're taking way too long. I think, like I said, tomorrow we're going to be halfway through, and I think nothing has changed.
Nothing.
I'm going to be real honest about the way that I think this should have been handled with the two stories with the flashbacks, because I love the Tuscan stuff. It's all amazing. It's the best part of this show, it should have been the first 3 episodes.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then if we needed a short flashback to fill in some gaps after that, great. But I feel like they should have told that one story. I would have been absolutely okay if they had done a whole season of that.
Me too.
Me too, because the
I was
Tuscans
really
are
digging the
fascinating.
Tuscans.
But I think they should have told most of it. If there were some key pieces to kind of a little twist in there somewhere where we needed a short flashback later, save it.
Right.
But give us those first 3 episodes, tell us that story, and then set it up, and then start this new story. And then it doesn't feel like you're dragged. Because the truth is, when we look at Boba Fett's story, like the current time, it feels like it's been dragged out. But there's actually not that much there.
Right.
It's actually only a little over an hour of material. It hasn't been dragged out. It just feels like it because you're telling 2 different stories at the same time. And I think if you had done all of this after the flashbacks, that would have done away with a lot of the complaints about the pacing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys feel that they are relying much on the Western trope? You know, we've got the first episode was like 30 minutes. The second one was a little longer. This one's, last week was the same amount as the first week. But, this whole thing with the Western trope and the adventure, and obviously we saw it a lot more in The Mandalorian.
I was going to say, yeah.
I
We're all
personally
getting
think
that with The Mandalorian, so
Yeah.
why are you... I
See, that's
feel
what I
like
was
they
gonna
are
say, too.
repeating The Mandalorian. That's what this feels like. It feels like you are repeating it.
not just that. I think we all went into this thinking of a criminal underworld feel,
Right,
Like
too.
darker, more seedy atmospheres, And we're not getting that at all atmospherically or storyline. It is not that seedy underbelly.
He's not badass
Which I
at
think
all.
is what we were expecting because Boba Fett's known for being part of the criminal underworld.
Well,
And
I want
that's
to ask this.
Yeah.
If you guys, they're on Tatooine. It's a desert planet, which, in my mind, I associate with Westerns.
Yeah.
What did
But the
you
thing is,
want
we
it
already
to
have
be?
the Mandalorian.
We already
being
have the
Western.
Mandalorian for the Western aspect of it.
I was thinking this more like a crime drama.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's on
Our-
Tatooine, though, so
Well,
hard not to.
I don't mind the Western aesthetic of this at all, but I think there's a danger, and I think that they're kind of tiptoeing on that line right now. And I had this same complaint about Visions when you took it all and you made it all very anime. Sure, these are all things that build up Star Wars. You can look across, and Western is definitely one of the ingredients, and the Eastern mysticism is one of the ingredients. But how far can you lean into one of those individual ingredients and still be Star Wars?
Yeah.
right. And in the example, I think of Visions, it looks like Star Wars, but it's inconsequential to anything that we know from from the beginning. So.
Right.
It was a nice little surprise, a nice little visual to kind of break things up, but at the end of the day, it doesn't mean anything to the bigger lore of what we know. Are we? Obviously, we are talking about Amanda. You mentioned our expectation and how the Book of Boba Fett was supposed to be this crime drama, a la The Godfather Part 2. I too also wanted this to be a little more gritty, a little bit more dirty. One of the things that again that I'm missing, especially when we see Jabba's old throne room, and again this might be nitpicky, but I want to see like more activity in there. He's the crime lord. I want to see more creatures. I want to see more beings walking to and fro, especially on Tatooine. It seems very small, and I know they shoot inside the volume, which makes it small to begin with, but I think that's the aspect of the of that grand scope that I'm missing. You know, I know the tent stuff in the Tusken Raider scenes because I saw a behind the scenes they shot in an exterior parking lot in Los Angeles with a blue screen behind it, and it was a vast, you know, shot. You had that during that last final flashback. You had a nice little, you know, shot where, you know, the camera, you know, it looks like it's on a drone, but just kind of pulls back, and it continues to go. And those are the shots that I really love seeing in a Star Wars. But you know, I think they really need to do more of that to kind of expand. You know, and I know we've been on this planet before. We know what it looks like. But I feel like they're dumbing it down a little bit too much.
I agree.
And again, you know, that's all. That all kind of gets grouped into my gripes as far as budgetary constraints, and I know somebody's talking about limiting extras because it was made during COVID time, and I guess I get that, but
I was gonna say that too.
I think there's ways around that.
Yeah.
And I also think that you're going to get everything that you want. I think it's leading up to that. It's just that we needed to first hear this backstory about the Tuskens. We have to show how Boba's evolved since then, and I really think that they're playing on this is a man who every time he finds a family or finds something that he loves, finds a place in this galaxy, it's taken away from him. I mean, they keep focusing on Kamino. We all know what happens there. They keep focusing on, you know, the arena. We all know that's when Jango died. The Tuskens died. He found a niche in Jabba's palace. Jabba's dead.
Yeah.
So every time he finds something, it's ripped away from him.
I guess I never saw him as a sentimental character, so what does it matter? I guess
I
that
think
all
it's
these
'cause
things
we
are being
always
ripped
saw-
away from. Yeah,
I think we always saw Boba Fett as a villain.
right.
And I
That's
think
the other thing
that could
too.
be part of the problem too, is we have this preconceived idea that he's a villain. And now that we're kind of seeing him in this non-villain light, it's kind of weird for all of us. I know it's weird for me.
Yeah, it's a much softer role.
Yeah.
See him.
I
more
mean, look at the
sympathetic,
relationship that he's developing with the baby Rancor, you know, like, oh, he's such a good boy and he's petting it. And, you know, like he just got a puppy, you know,
Yeah.
it
why I actually
shows
hated
that.
scene.
Oh, I loved it.
You
It
didn't
shows
like
that
this scene?
he
I don't like the
No,
baby
I don't-
Rancor.
What?
It's
Star Wars,
compassionate.
cutesy. Like,
But it's always been cutesy.
issue
Look
with
at
that.
There's
look at
so
the
many
Ewoks.
cutesy things.
They were cutesy.
Oh,
Yeah, nobody went up to an Ewok and went.
It started
That is true. Yeah, nobody
Yeah,
did that.
nobody did that.
Come on.
Let,
man,
let's let me get back to something that that Kelly said, you know, and this will kind of play out with the whole pacing issue that Andrew was talking about. You know, we've seen that damn scene of Kamino, of the Slave One taking off of the Kamino platform. You see young Boba Fett going to the window and doing the Pablo Hidalgo against the rainy window there. How many times are we going to see that? And again, you know, here we go with
I
pacing.
have that answer.
Here we go with pacing. You have that answer? All right.
have that
What's the answer?
Okay.
The answer is we're going to keep seeing that scene every single episode until the season finale when we see what it is we're supposed to see. I mean, like, what is still hidden and blacked out in Boba's brain that he still is... The dreams are still just starting to come back, you know, and we see a little bit more every single episode. So...
But we
what are
haven't.
gonna
We've
see?
seen the same
haven't.
scene for
I
like the
know.
last
It's like I'm not
3
getting
episodes.
anything.
A little bit longer every single episode.
Does it?
It does. It does. I swear it does.
It does.
It does.
It does?
Yeah.
See a little
I
bit
just don't
more.
want to go through 6 episodes of crap only to get a big, awesome, wonderful finale.
we-
Like, I don't know if I want that kind of quote unquote.
Well, you know, we don't
foreplay.
know. We don't know it's crap yet, and you know, at the very end,
that's
you know,
another
if,
thing, yeah,
if
we're
you
not
guys,
done yet.
if you guys are right, and we do see something phenomenal, and we're like, oh my god, but
Yeah.
still, like right now at this moment, it's the pacing is a little off. It's like, okay, we saw this already.
Yeah.
I'm not sitting there with a timer saying, oh, this is like an extra 3 seconds of young Boba Fett's face. So you know, it's still kind of interesting. I think you know, we'll see what happens. Let's get back to another one of my points here. Fennec Shand seems to have a better handle about being a crime boss than Boba Fett does at this point. It seems like Fennec is guiding him, not really pulling the strings, but I actually like Fennec Shand a lot better than I do Boba Fett at this point. Thoughts?
Too.
Fennec is badass. I mean, she's just.
Oh,
ready
we
to-
know how you feel about Fennec Shand, Amanda. We won't go there.
No.
No.
But she's like exactly what I kind of wanted from this show. Like she is this criminal bounty hunter, wants to be a crime lord kind of like thing. You know, she's not afraid to get her hands dirty.
Right.
Andrew,
And
I wanted real
sorry.
fast. I wanted to ask Andrew what he thought about the relationship between Fennec Shand and Boba Fett, because there is kind of a, I don't want to say, you know, mentor student type of thing, but sometimes it does seem like like that. And then last episode when they went to go visit the mayor, you know, they wanted to get in there and get a meeting, and she threatened the guy, the Shanti's favorite comedian guy, and Boba Fett said that was a little, what was it? A little, that seemed a little overhanded, which to me was like right out of left field, because he's supposed to be a crime boss and this is your enforcer. Of course she's going to threaten somebody if you don't get your way. It just seemed odd to me.
Yeah, I think that right now, I don't know that. I think that the big problem right now is we don't know exactly what Boba Fett's motives in this whole thing are.
Right.
And does he want to be a crime boss because he wants to like sit on a throne and rule over this empire, or I think that what he's looking for is to go to war, and he's less concerned with some of the other things that are going on. But right now, Fennec is his edge. Like, she's the one that's going to keep his edge when it comes time. And I think that part of it is that Boba Fett's motivations have changed severely from what we think they are based on all the things we've known about Boba Fett over the last 30 years. Boba Fett is likely on a path to revenge here.
Against who?
The Pikes, who killed the Tuscans.
Okay, so you think that was my
Yeah.
point too. I think the graffiti on the tent was a redirect, or
Yeah.
kind of the Pikes are. The Pikes, I feel, are definitely manipulating the situation. But it's weird though, because of what we know about the Pikes through the animated series. This is where I kind of call on that knowledge and trying to put two and two together. Not because of the show, because right now, you know, it's the Tusken Raiders, it's the Pikes. We haven't really seen any of the other families other than the bikers, the Klatooinians.
We did see the Hutts.
Right. But, you know, yes and no. The Hutts were present through proxy because of the twins, but we really didn't see the power structure of the Hutts.
No.
And they supposedly they left and said, "Oh, sorry, this is somebody else's territory. I'm gonna here's a gift. See you later."
I don't think they left. I don't see why the Hutts would have taken off.
All of these
off there.
story points, though, for me, are like really choppy. I don't know. And again, I don't know what it is. It's like they're like trying to make connective tissues, you know, flow in a certain direction, but then they stop right before they make that connection. And that's what's throwing me off.
I think I think what it is, like, and I've been seeing this since the beginning. If everybody got a 3-4 hour movie and got the whole story in one sitting, everybody would be so happy with it, besides some minor things. But we have to wait every single week, and nobody wants to do that waiting anymore.
You keep saying that, but I love waiting. I have no problem with the weekly format at all. But for some reason,
this is
it's just not engaging enough.
I mean, it's not a brand new formula waiting a week for the rest of the story. This is how we've watched television since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
Or at least since the beginning of television. So I don't know if that is
because Mandalorian
something that
was
I
a
was
weekly
subscribed
format,
to. Yeah.
correct? So, and I had no
It was
problem with
weekly.
Mandalorian being weekly. I was excited every week for a new episode to drop. This, I've already said, I am at this point literally watching the show because we're doing Scarif Live.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, if not, I probably would have stopped.
I
I probably would have
love
stopped
this
after this
show.
episode.
I do.
All right,
I'm
let's
hoping tomorrow will change my mind. I really
well,
am.
That's what I'm
Tomorrow
hoping.
might-
That's what I'm waiting for.
I'm hoping
I think
tomorrow
tomorrow's going to be
is-
like the climax.
I'm hoping tomorrow is the episode that blows all our minds. I'm really hoping it is.
I hear that it's going to be directed by Bryce Dallas Howard.
So
Well,
So-
she
that
directed
might make a
some
difference.
good episodes, of
Yeah.
Mandalorian. So
Let's turn the page here and go into a more happy place. Black Chrysanthemum kicking the ass of Boba Fett. I think that fight right out of the Bacta chamber for Boba Fett was brutal. I think it was really great. What did you guys think?
Loved it. Electric Knuckles. I mean, like, whoa. It was so cool. It was awesome.
Oh, I think that whole scene was great, and it's actually the only scene in the show that makes me like the biker gang at all.
yeah,
Definitely.
yeah.
Like the biker gang? Because I wanted
I mean-
Black Chrysanthemum to at least kill 2 of those little shits.
I mean, we get to see a pretty brutal fight, and I know some people have said, the fight's not that brutal, nobody dies, but I mean, like, we're discounting the Gamorrean guards here too as big brutes.
Yeah.
Like these are big brutes up there. They're kept by Jabba as guards because they're up there with a Wookiee or these other big creatures, and I mean he just throws them around like rag dolls.
Yeah.
Yes. It was
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
It's just biting them and,
I like the
wow.
lighting of this fight too, like kind of the darker edge of it. It was more like you felt like Boba, you could feel his emotion of, oh shit, am I going to make it out of this? Because, this Wookiee is just smacking him around and throwing him around,
Yeah.
So I would say it's
Yeah.
definitely the highlight of the episode, yeah.
I'm just surprised Boba got up and
Right.
dusted
Yeah.
his shoulders off as if nothing. But
That is one of
I
the-
guess
that's a
I gotta
couple of
suspend
things-
my disbelief
right.
for that one.
Yeah, I was
He is-
expecting
he is the
more
main character,
injuries for
but-
him, yeah.
The only reason it does that, and it's because they put the stupid thing in the sub captions where it's like bones cracking, and it's like, well, if bones are cracking, then
I know, like,
Yeah, he shouldn't be getting up and being like, oh, I'm fine.
are you about to kill the main character?
right, like
Like
if
I would have loved to have seen him with some injuries or something after that.
Yeah, it was just too I'm
Too
just gonna
easy?
Get right back up and it was
Yeah.
Just, call
And
him
like I
Special
said,
K, by the way.
And I think if the Gamorrean guards were a little thicker, Black Cave probably would have had a little bit more of a problem knocking them over. But since they skipped leg day,
That's another thing. He got in really easily. No one wants to touch.
oh yeah,
that.
if I'm gonna,
Kinda just
okay.
strolled right in like as if nothing.
But if I'm gonna go kill somebody who's laying in a Bacta tank, and in the previous episode I've got this big ass gun, you'd think I'd bring my big ass gun and just take him out easily, right? There's
Take
certain
a sword and like plunge it through.
yeah,
the,
there certain things in the show that in universe are not making too much sense, and we'll get to another one in a minute.
Well, I mean,
You know,
it
my
took
reaction
place
was
in the
like,
middle
can
of
this
the
guy
night.
just take a bath without getting interrupted?
Right.
Every time he gets in there, something happens.
it happens. Yeah.
Somebody mentioned
this took place in the middle of the night, and everybody's sleeping, and it's not like he has this whole like armada protecting him. Like
But even
everybody
more
else
so,
needs to do.
he shouldn't be protected because it is nighttime. So
Yeah, but who is he going to have to protect him? He's still
Where
making
was
these
Fennec?
alliances. Fennec's sleeping. She was up all day. She's going to sleep too.
but she was still dressed. She should have at least had like some sort of nightgown on or something.
Yeah, she was dressed. That's true.
Yeah.
She should have had night clothes on.
with
Yeah.
Jennifer Beals at her side.
What?
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 Shanti, don't bring that up. That's
I didn't
that's
say the magic word.
sexy. That's sexy time.
Lick? What?
So she's gone. All right, let's get obviously some of you guys enjoyed the Rancor scene and Danny Trejo. I think Danny is a great character actor. He's great in everything that he's in. I'm actually glad that he's in Star Wars. I don't really have a problem with him being
He's
in
the
Star
only
Wars.
one
I think it
that
kind of
somewhat
fits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah,
throw
he
a bone
fits
to
in that
him.
role. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did
Andrew,
enjoy
you
the
okay with
Rancor
that?
scene. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm fine with Danny Trejo. My only question is Danny Trejo a villain?
Right.
I know, right?
Oh yeah, that's.
I mean,
a good point.
traditionally, Danny Trejo shows up, he's a villain, right? But I know over the last, decade or so, he's tried to play a lot of softer roles. So
Yeah.
Yeah, but is he going to be training this Rancor for good or for bad?
Well,
like...
That's
It's
the thought I
got to
had.
be good because we only have 4 episodes in. So to introduce another adversary in the middle of the show, I hope they don't do that because it'll be
agree.
it's going to have to be a quick resolution,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the other thing too that bothered me during the death scene of the Tuskens were the chanting music. I think it was beautiful. I don't think for me it didn't fit. I don't want to say it didn't fit. It was just like right there on the edge for me. And some people, yeah, and some people were saying that it was too short. But regardless, I think it was kind of a brutal way to end up for the Tuskens to end up. I want that to be a bigger motivating factor, and maybe it is, but at this point, I don't see that Boba Fett has that in his mind to be a motivating factor. Obviously, we're getting into the whole Pike Syndicate situation. Andrew mentioned that there's some of us that feel that the Pikes are behind everything. So, hopefully we'll start to ramp up in this episode tomorrow to kind of, I don't know, solidify a lot of the thoughts that we have about the Pikes especially. All right, so here's another thing that bothered me about the whole Fennec Boba Fett dynamic. In the dinner scene, Fett basically says, they sent Black Chrysanthemum to kill me. I should respond. And Fennec's like, nah, have some more chicken. And
that was definitely not Fennec.
previously it was the other way around. Boba Fett was like, what should I do? And Fennec's like, you got to kick some ass.
Yeah. I thought that was totally weird for Fennec to respond to that because she's been like, I'm going to go kill him. Like,
Right.
let me kill him, let me kill him. And then this one time she's sitting there with her feet up eating chicken like, nah.
Is Fennec working for the Hutts?
Yeah.
Ooh,
Could be.
what
He
is
got
that?
in
Yeah.
Right.
seriously.
That is that.
That would explain why she didn't
Right.
rush to Boba Fett's rescue when she
I
should
found that all
have.
to be very
Yeah.
Right.
suspect.
Yeah.
I also have a different theory on that. Boba's been kind of out of the loop, so to say, for the past 5 years because, he was eaten by a Sarlacc and then kidnapped by the Tuskens and living the life out there. Fennec, she has been in it. She's been in the thick of everything for the whole entire time. So Boba really needs to lean heavy on her. She knows when to fight and she knows when to eat her lizard chicken, so.
She knows how to
With
pick her
some chicken.
battles. Essentially.
Yeah.
I mean, just
Yeah.
looking at it from a character perspective, Fennec Shand respects power, right?
Right.
Yeah.
If she's also seeing Boba Fett as weak, then what's to stop her from going and making a deal with the Hutts, who will show power? I mean, that's the way I'm looking at it now. That may not play out.
Yeah.
Who do you
That's a
think is
great
in
theory,
control
though.
of this territory at this moment? Between Boba Fett and all the families, who's really pulling the strings? It's not the mayor.
Jennifer
No.
Beals.
I actually agree
There's
with
something
you.
about
I
her.
Yeah, there is.
Jennifer
I'm
Beals
half
is the
joking.
mastermind of it all. I think she's the one really in control, but she's playing to be this innocent little,
I know Ro wants her to be.
Oh, I know.
you know. So that's why
She's
I
just,
think
you know,
she's
feminine.
the real mastermind pulling the strings and everything.
Yeah, I think Crimson Dawn is ultimately behind everything. The
Yeah,
Pikes,
You
that
think-
too.
Do you think Jennifer Beals' character is working for Crimson Dawn?
I believe so. I said that last week. Yeah, I do think that she's working for Crimson Dawn, and I think the Pikes maybe as well. The Pike, the symbol that the
Seen
Pikes,
that one.
the symbol that the Pikes are wearing is not the same symbol that we've seen them wearing in the animated series.
It's not the same as in the
And
anime.
it's got a little bit more of a Crimson Dawn look to it. So
That's interesting.
I'm wondering if more of the in Boba's absence, like while he's been gone, if there's more changes that have happened in the criminal underworld than we know about yet.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's an interesting thought. That would be cool.
I'm going to pay special attention to any jewelry that Jennifer Beals is wearing in her outfit,
Very good idea.
for obvious reasons, but
Yeah.
for science.
Sure.
Yeah, for science.
For science, that's a good one.
So let's talk about the Rancor in the room here. It's funny. I have my notes. I have Rancor, Coochie, Coochie, Coo.
So cute.
And yeah, I thought that was ridiculous.
So scared.
Loved it. I loved it.
It reminds
Loved
me
it.
though of the baby Rancor in Bad Batch.
Yes. Is it Mochi?
Yeah, is it
That'd be so
Mochi?
cool. That'd
Because
be so
Mochi
cool if it
gets
was Mochi.
purchased by Jabba the Hutt.
Yep.
So it would be
Yep,
interesting
yeah.
to know if that's the same Rancor.
I
Could be.
love seeing the Rancor. I just don't
Yeah.
want it being. I don't want to see
I-
it
you
being
know,
treated like a puppy.
I
that's all.
would say, given the whole thing with the blinders, not Moochie.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Also, this is still a fair amount after that episode with Moochie
Right.
with the Bad Batch, a good bit after.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it would probably be grown. Right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Meh. But it would have been cool.
Yeah. I wonder what happened to Mochi.
I know.
Leave it up to Dave Filoni. We might find out.
Yeah.
All right. So
By
let's
the way,
get back.
speaking of which, does anybody think Rota the Hutt could make an appearance? From Clone Wars? Or do we think he's not going to show up?
If there's a kind of a
Because that
round
would
table
be-
Godfather type thing scene where we see,
Because
several
to me,
huts, because we can
that would
see.
be the guy that would want to take over Jabba's territory.
Yeah.
And Dave Filoni is one of the masterminds that connects everything together.
So I've been wondering if he's going to show up or not.
My suspicion would be that based on just strictly on budgetary limits, that
Okay.
we've probably seen all of the huts rendered that we're going to see in this show.
Yeah.
I do think that going down the road where I think they're going, which I think this is our introduction to the criminal underworld
Yeah.
as it exists 5 years after Return of the Jedi. And that after this is over, we're going to have that set up and we'll get some underworld shows announced.
Yeah.
And at that point, I think we probably see a lot more huts.
Okay.
Yeah. Good point. All right. Let's get to the chase or lack thereof of the Vespas. We haven't talked about that. And, one of the things obviously that bothers me is when they took off, Boba Fett told his minions, go get him. And I realized, I'm like, does he not know he's got a rocket pack and weapons on his wrists? What's going on here? That's one of the things that I feel like I want everything in universe to kind of make sense and, you know, connect with the abilities of the characters. There was really no need to chase this idiot. Because when he crashed into the fruit stand, Boba Fett used his rocket and then landed right in front of him and said, "Hey, where are you going?" I mean, that could have been just a pretty amazing scene.
I felt that whole scene was played for gags, for funny, for comedy.
It was just so slow moving.
So silly. It was.
You know, the GIF on Twitter moves faster than the actual scene.
I know.
Yeah.
The silly thing of them crashing through the painting of like Jabba the Hutt. I was like, this is so freaking ridiculous.
And that was a callback. That painting was a Ralph McQuarrie concept.
It is a Ralph McQuarrie piece. It's a piece of Ralph McQuarrie art, and the interesting change they made to it was that because it's all about Jabba, so they removed Luke Skywalker is in that original piece of concept art from McQuarrie, but they removed Luke from the art.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's a cool little trivia there.
I know everybody hates I know everybody hates it. I know. And it wasn't the best for me.
Yeah.
But
I want to see you justify this.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I'm really waiting for this.
hear it.
What are you gonna say?
Boba's in charge. He's got minions now. Why should he? Yeah. He's getting there. It's building up to that. But why, as the boss, should he get himself dirty when he's got minions? Let the kids do it. You know, like.
Yeah, they are kids, aren't they?
Let the kids do it. And two, if you have to, like, I'm always, you got to find the positive in everything, okay? And the positives, that painting, the fruits were a callback to Rebels. We saw the C-3PO droids. We saw the repair droids. And we saw the Bith. So if the chase scene had gone faster than that, we wouldn't have seen all those cool things.
We would have, because the director and the special effects people would have made it so that we've seen it.
What does it matter? I'm not watching a show to look for all the cutesy little things in the background that are a callback to everything that we've seen beforehand. If not, then what's the point of watching this show? I might as well just go watch everything that's come before it.
It's not even funny. But in everything you ever watch, everybody's like, well, what were the Easter eggs in that episode? And I found all the Easter eggs.
I'm not watching this stuff to hunt Easter eggs. I'm watching these shows to escape from life and to turn my brain off, not to go on an Easter egg hunt. You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't do it for me. First of all, we're already doing that enough with Marvel. I'm tired of this trend with everything that we're seeing. Look for stuff in the background. I don't want to be doing that all the time. This isn't a game of Clue. But
I liked it. I was like, whoa, look at that.
But for me, it serves no purpose to the story. Didn't move anything along. What did that do for anything except say, hey, look at that? Who cares?
Fruit.
But I like the story. I mean, like, I know not everybody likes the story, but I like the story.
Would have killed that guy at the end because I can't stand him anymore.
I wish they would kill
they would have just
the mayor's
offed
assistant.
him.
Like, just
I can't take
him.
that guy at all.
Just kill him. Like,
that was so unsatisfying.
Andrew's got something to say.
Sorry, Andrew.
No, I actually don't mind the chase. I don't mind the Easter eggs, but it is slow. And, you know, I don't mind that Boba walks out and says, you know, these guys he's just hired says, go get him. I want to see what you can do. I don't mind that.
Yeah.
But it is, I think the thing that really sticks this for me is that we just had Hawkeye, right? Hawkeye has what I still believe, and I haven't had anybody offer me anything up different, that car chase scene in Hawkeye is the best car chase ever put on TV.
It is. It is.
I agree.
Yeah, it is.
And then we get this, and it
doesn't compare.
It doesn't.
Dang.
Sorry.
Harry Potter.
My alarm goes off at 8 o'clock.
I think honestly, I think that's what rubs me wrong the most about this scene. Is that I wanted it to be as good as that chase in Hawkeye.
Because you see the production value in Hawkeye.
You know that's
all the Marvel shows.
Yeah,
you know,
that's what's rubbing me
production value of
wrong
this.
about Marvel
the
versus
Marvel
the Star Wars
shows.
streaming.
Yeah.
I mean, even the trailer that they just dropped for Moon Knight looks like a movie. I mean,
looks like a
and
movie.
Or even
Yes.
like Amanda was saying, I forgot where we were talking about this, Amanda. Forget even Marvel shows and stuff outside of Disney. You
Well,
just
I was
watched
talking
The
about The
Witcher,
Witcher.
and
Yeah.
you said that The Witcher looks so amazing in comparison to Star Wars. So that's why I say there really should be no excuse. Don't use it as this is TV, not a movie, as your excuse to fall back on. I'm sorry, because TV is where it's at right now.
I'm going to be a little bit like Lunar Girl and be a little giver of light. And I'm going to give
I
them.
like being cynical.
I'm going to give them a slight, you know, what do you call it? Benefit of the doubt. Okay. I know, you know, Mandalorian, they started using this new technology. Boba Fett, they're obviously using the same technology, but now they have COVID to kind of deal with and resurgence of all that stuff. So there's a lot of obstacles there. I'm hoping that the next shows, Obi-Wan and Ahsoka and Andor, I'm hoping that those shows start to show us a little bit more of what I guess I expect personally from a Star War. Because it's unfortunately it's not this. I'm going to continue to watch it obviously because, like I said, you know, I love Star Wars and I'll watch something I'll watch something Star Wars at least once, except a certain trilogy of a man who will not be named, but that's another thing.
I have a question.
I have an answer.
We keep saying how, you know, this could have been affected by COVID and this and that, but a lot of the Marvel shows that we've watched, how many of those were produced during COVID?
Loki.
We had a lot of Marvel
I know
shows.
Loki was produced during
So
COVID.
WandaVision, Loki, Falcon.
I don't know about
Soldier,
WandaVision.
Hawkeye.
I think WandaVision.
No, WandaVision. I think may have skirted
WandaVision
that. But
was before.
how many of those were done during COVID? Because I would like.
I
to know,
believe
because if
Loki-
any of those-
Winter Soldier actually was done like right in the middle of COVID, and I think they had to switch storylines.
Well, they had like
because,
they had to totally rewrite. They had a
They had to
6-month
totally
delay.
rewrite it, yeah.
right.
I mean, but the difference was you see Marvel, if you look across the aisle, and Star Wars has done this a little, but not like you see Marvel shuffling things a month or two back, and you go, okay, they're trying to get it right.
Yeah.
And, you know, at this point, I don't think that's happening. I think that with Lucasfilm, unfortunately, I think they're trying to play catch up.
And that is my point. Like, why, if some of these were done during COVID, that's what I'm trying to get at. Like, I don't even want to use the excuse of COVID for
Maybe
Star Wars
because
if
they have
some of the
been
Marvel
delayed.
shows were done during
Although,
COVID as well,
I
and they
don't
still
know,
look better.
Was
But-
Loki and Hawkeye delayed or no?
I don't know. I don't remember.
But a lot of those shows were started before COVID started.
Yeah, I don't know when Boba was
And-
filmed.
Boba started.
It was
I
filmed
mean,
during COVID.
Literally in the
It
middle
was
of it.
less
Okay,
than
that's
a
what I
year.
wanted
It
to
was
know. That's what I
less
wanted
than
to
a
know.
year.
But
So-
I think
That's what I
Loki
wanted to
was
know.
filmed right in the middle of COVID too.
That's what I thought so too.
I
Yeah,
honestly,
did it take less than a year to get that?
I don't
You
know.
know, from start
Yeah.
to finish. This was less than a year from start to finish. I think.
Okay.
Maybe.
what I hope, I know that they've continued to advance the volume technology. They're really, I mean, you know, Favreau is still producing this. Favreau is, as far as pushing technology forward, Favreau is the heir apparent to George Lucas in that department. And, you know, sometimes you push too far. George pushed too far with Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
And I kind of wonder sometimes with some of the things I'm seeing of this, if they pushed the technology a little further than they should have, and it's just not looking right.
That
Could
could be.
be.
Yeah.
That could be.
You know, coupled with time restraints, you know, we had some goofy things happen during Mando. You know, production assistant with the pants in the hallway. I mean,
Yeah.
how does that pass inspection? You know, things
Yeah.
like that. So I think it's a combination of a lot of things. I also think that you know, that chase scene really had a Spy Kids feel to it, and I wouldn't be surprised if
Power Ranger.
Robert Rodriguez kind of took some of the effects work to his company just to kind of speed things along. But who knows? Until we get all the behind the scenes nuggets, we won't know. But there's definitely something off about the Book of Boba Fett, whether it's the visual style, the storytelling, the pacing. But it's interesting. Everybody's got a different opinion. But, there are some aspects of all of the opinions that kind of overlap. There's a Venn diagram of all of our opinions that I think are worth noting, and then maybe taking a look at some of the aspects of the show that we're talking about. So looking forward to next week, or tomorrow, actually, to...
Yay!
To see if she's the only one, right? The only
I
one.
love you, Kelly. I love you.
I will be getting up
sunshine.
No, I wish.
9 hours. 9 more hours I get to
I
watch
wish
it.
I had the excitement that she does. Believe me, this makes me very sad, and I don't.
It makes
I know
me sad too.
It does make me
Like,
sad because
this is
you
the
guys
first
know I
Star
love to make
Wars
jokes, but
I'm not excited about.
I don't like seeing how many and I get it. In this day and age, everything gets memed. I understand that nothing is safe. Even the Marvel stuff gets memed. But I have never seen such a level of memes and jokes and things being poked fun of as much as this particular show. And that's my
maybe there's
problem. We
something
shouldn't be making this much fun of it. And I feel like it's across the board. What did you say?
Maybe it's the people. What's wrong with like everyone?
It's us. It's us.
Yeah, it's us.
We suck.
Yeah.
We suck.
I guess so.
But one of the interesting things, and I said this, I mentioned this before we started the show. There is an article out there that the ratings have dropped, and I take it for a grain of sand or salt, or I hate sand. Of course, gets everywhere. But if those stories are true, if that story is true, it's interesting that other people are kind of catching wind of some of the things that we are talking about here. Before Book of Boba Fett dropped, I knew and I said that I was going to be extra hard and critical of the show because, for me, The Mandalorian was the time to kind of experiment. I think this show looks worse than The Mandalorian for whatever reason, and I don't like that I feel that way. Because Boba Fett is a favorite character of mine, and nothing is matching up in my head. Any final thoughts on the Book of Boba Fett, the good, the bad, and the Vespa?
Well, I want to bring up one controversial point that everybody's going crazy on Twitter. It's the colors of the Vespas.
Oy.
Like,
That's so controversial, Amanda.
I know it is. But for me, it kind of took me out of Tatooine because those things to me fit on a planet like Coruscant or Corellia or Nar Shaddaa or something.
I'll be like Kelly. I've got an answer for that. I know exactly. Those characters are not native of Tatooine. They came from Canto Bight. If you look at their outfits side by side with the art direction of The Last Jedi and the folks in Canto Bight, very similar clothing. So that's my.
So you think that's why?
I think that's why. Yeah, they're running away from their parents. They were denied the trust
Another
funds.
thing. Those bikes are nice, man. Those things look Italian made. Those things
I know.
look like espresso machines. But for whatever reason, these people can't freaking afford water.
I know.
Sell your freaking speeder then. Priorities. What the hell's wrong with you? I don't understand. Did you steal those? I
they
know.
look expensive.
They do. So did you rob the? It didn't track. It didn't connect. I didn't like that. I didn't like that they were all essentially human either. There's just a lot of humans in this world.
let's play devil's advocate and so everybody is talking about the speeders being a homage to George Lucas's background and Speed and American Graffiti and the Mod Squad or whatever the hell you want to call it. Let's just say that, okay, we all understand that. We all see that there is a connection between the speeders and George Lucas, and, you know, they wanted to give homage to that. But did it fit? I don't think it did.
I think when you add anything like that into a show, I mean, I think this is the way you just approach props in a show. Does it work? Does it fit the aesthetic?
Right.
And as I think Amanda said, you know, there are places in Star Wars universe where you see that and you don't even flinch.
Exactly. Like I said, Coruscant.
The upper levels of Coruscant fit. I don't mind the design. I know Ro doesn't like the design at all. I think the concept art actually looks pretty good. But the colors, anytime you go and you throw bright primary colors out there, you're going to get, it's going to draw weird comparisons to things like the Power Rangers and Voltron. You know, the fact that if they had only used one or two colors, there are things they could have done that really could have taken the edge off that.
Right. Scuffed it up or something, like, I don't know.
Well, that's the thing.
And dirty, and, you know.
Yeah, like, make it look
scuffed
gritty.
It up, because Tatooine's full of sand, so it should be, you know, like kind of
turtle
dirty,
wax, baby.
You know.
Right.
Can I say one thing? They weren't Western bikes.
No.
You guys hated the whole Western thing. It has nothing to do with Westerns, and it's like, yeah, those bikes
would have rather seen a horse. The horse would have been faster.
You know, if you watch the concept art with the credits, a lot of those shots look, you know, really great, and they didn't translate to the real world. I think even, you know, the little things, like there is a shot where Boba Fett comes and collects the money from the Pike Syndicate, and the room is smoky and dark. And then when you see the actual scene, it's like they shot it in the middle of a Walmart with all the fluorescent. It's like really like, Can you maybe put in a little smoke, make it a little, you know, it's just the creative decisions. It's just weird. It's just something is not connecting.
Just awful.
Yeah. Anyways, we got tomorrow's episode to hopefully spruce things up on Tatooine, and maybe a biker will get shot or fall off a cliff somewhere or something. Who knows? But any predictions on tomorrow's episode, Shanti? What do you think?
No, I have no predictions. None.
You're just going for the ride. Andrew, how about you?
Yeah.
So overall, I'm still optimistic that we're going to see a lot of the things that we want to see in these last 4 episodes, and that we're going to see this darker, grittier side of Boba Fett. I think that this episode, I'm afraid that this episode is still not it. I think it's going to be the last 3. I think this is the transition episode from the story we've been telling to going to war, and this is going to be the episode with all the scenes of Boba Fett sitting around, you know, trying to win the Aqualish and the other the Trandoshans and the other groups over to his side. I think it's a lot of the shots from the original trailer are in episode 4.
Okay, Kelly, how about you?
I predict that I'm gonna come into our little chat tomorrow morning saying, I loved it! And all you guys are like, Kelly, it sucked!
We'll see. Amanda, how about you? Predictions?
My prediction is I think we're gonna see a lot more Jennifer Beals in this episode. I think we really need to.
High five!
Woo! Because, you know, she's a big star to have on the show.
Right.
So I think she really needs to, I think we're going to see her finally step up more as more of a main character.
Absolutely. So before we take off, I wanted to ask you guys real fast because I think I was criticized for this either on Twitter or on in our DMs. The fact that we're not seeing the brutality that a lot of people want to see in this is something that I had been afraid of since they announced the Book of Boba Fett having been done on a Disney network. Do you guys have any thoughts about the lack of brutality and the lack of cojones that the show is obviously showing because it's a Disney thing, or do you think it's something else?
I think it's something else because if you watch The Falcon and Winter Soldier,
Yeah.
that is brutal. I mean, when you see that scene of him smashing the shield down
Yeah,
and the
that
blood,
was-
you know,
Disney's not afraid
that
to go
is
there.
brutal.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's a Disney thing at all because we've already seen it in a property.
And you've got a guy directing this that's not afraid to do brutal.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think it's coming. I think they're holding it back for shock value when it does happen. I just think they're holding it too long.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see what happens tomorrow and in subsequent episodes. But yeah, I just want to thank everybody in the chat. You guys were having a good time back there. There was some chat earlier on about the elimination of Luke Skywalker, which is definitely a show all on its own as far as the Ralph McQuarrie thing. And all the weird little anti-Disney connotations that drives the Twitterverse, but interesting to say the least. Dave, I'm happy to see Dave Richards in the chat. I know we were going to go on earlier on Sunday because it was a school night the next day, but thank you guys for joining us. Everybody in the chat, Coruscant Radio Underground. Andrew, let us know what do you guys have coming up?
We were supposed to get back to recording this week, but since everybody in the house is sick, I don't know if that's going to happen. So we'll get back to recording next week. We are still on to record with you on Thursday night for Science Fictionary. So we've got some stuff coming out, but it's probably going to be another week before we really get going again.
I heard you were doing something solo.
I am. I'm working on it. I've got a solo project. It'll be 5 to 10 minute YouTube clips. It's as much as anything. One, it gives me a place to talk about things that the rest of my crew's not always interested in talking about. It's also going to give me a place to get quicker reactions out there to some news items. And as much as anything, this whole project started with forcing me out of my shell. And it took me 2.5 years of doing this before I would even get in front of a camera. And so I've been doing that for a little while now. And now I'm going to do it by myself.
Awesome.
Totally understand, Andrew.
I would never have known that you didn't like being in front of a camera.
Yeah. Either.
I got a photography degree so I could stand behind it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Amanda, we just dropped our third show on representation where I talked to some buddies, friends, co-creators about representation. And thank you very much for availing yourself on that episode. That was earlier today. It's doing actually pretty well. Awesome. But what else do you got going over at Galaxy of Queers?
You're joining me at 9 for our talk on Willow. And then on Sunday, we're continuing our 80s month. Gemma and I are hosting an episode talking about Labyrinth.
Very nice.
Yep.
Excellent. I'll see you in 45 minutes. Blue Wrench Girl.
Yay!
What's going on with your bad self?
Let's see. I don't think I have any more podcasts this week. We just wrapped up with the guys the music of 1992, and we made this awesome playlist with all of our followers of all the songs that we used to jam out to, and it went live on Spotify last night. So kind of like taking a breath today, and then tomorrow we're going to start promoting the Book of Boba Fett chapters 3 and 4.
Very nice. Excellent. Cool beans. All right, Shanti, my friend. Oh, and you're on another podcast besides us, right?
Huh?
You're all over the place.
I have Alan's show on Thursday. Since we unfortunately we had to postpone, we had to cancel last Thursday, so we're moving it to this Thursday, where we're going to talk about cult movies and John Carpenter, and then of course we just wrapped up the Pirates episode with Andrew over here and our lovely friend Andy.
I don't know if I said it before we started live, but chat, you guys are not ready for the pirate episode. It is so good. It is really good. I just finished doing some initial edits on it, and it's gonna be fantastic. So today, this week, we Scarif Scuttlebutt podcast drops 2 episodes. We dropped the first one, as I mentioned earlier, with Amanda, and Thursday we are dropping another fantastic episode. Charles and I went down to Florida. Well, Charles lives there, but I went down to Florida, St. Pete, and we covered the St. Pete Comic-Con, and that episode drops on Thursday morning at 6 a.m., and I'm really excited to share that one. We had a lot of fun. Hung out with Charles of Conversations and talked to some organizers. We talked to some families and talked to some vendors, all about having fun, being geeks. There was a lot of 501st and Mando Mercs and furries there, so it's a very unique combination.
Yeah. Happy early birthday, Charles! Happy early
birthday! That's right. We're dropping it on his birthday. That's so cool. Again, you can find us wherever you get your other favorite podcasts at Scarif Podcast. Check us out. If you guys want to send us an email, send it to scarifscuttlebutt@gmail.com. Check us out and the rest of the Red 5 Network. We've got 30 plus pods on the site. Look for Red 5 Network on Twitter. There's a pinned tweet there. Do some exploring. Check out the rest of the family. Check out the rest of the shows. The announcement is imminent. We got one more podcast coming on to join us at the Red 5 Network. Ever expanding. Soon we will be taking over the world, but that's the goal. And just having fun, interacting with a lot of people. Any final thoughts? Anybody want to say goodbye?
Bye.
Goodbye. Bye. All right, guys. Thank you guys in the chat. Love you. Until next time, tomorrow. Was it tomorrow? What is today? Tuesday?
Today's Tuesday.
So it is tomorrow.
Yes.
Tomorrow.
Okay?
We might as well just stay up.
Okay. Sure.
All right, everybody. Thank you very much. This is Ro from the Scarif Scuttlebutt podcast. On behalf of our wonderful panel, take care. May the force be with you. Stay geeky, my friends. And that's the Scuttlebutt.